deployments probably. But a lot of focus on, you know, where the Guard's going to go for the future. Some people say, well, we've used the Guard too much, we've worn them out, employers aren't willing to take more deployments, things like that. And when I look at it, you know, a force, I think the total number right now today is about 463,000 Army and Air scattered across 54 states and territories. 18,000 of those are in operations today. Afghanistan, Horn of Africa, Qatar, Kosovo, still have a few in Bosnia, believe it or not. Sinai, just every mission that our Air Force and Army are in, we're in. And then there's probably another 6,000 to 8,000 that are either getting ready to go or just got back. And then this morning's report, including what you have here, fighting floods, we've got 4,000 in the homeland on duty. Some of that's protecting the skies. 140th Wing is doing that every day with their air alert mission. Some of that's missile defense. Some of that's southwest border, it's counter-drug. But we average, right now we're averaging those numbers, about 18,000 deployed and about 4,000 to 5,000 in the homeland every day. So, as we move forward to the future, do we have the right mix for deployments? You know, if you think about 18,000 against a force of 463,000, that's not a whole lot deployed. Unless you're the person that's on your 4th or 5th deployment, then it is a lot of deployed. But I always like to ask folks and sense it because I do represent you, you know, inside the city of Washington and the Pentagon. You know, are we using the Guard too much? Or do we have the right mix, the right balance for families, for employment? The number's going to come down probably 2 years from now, unless some new crisis pops up. You know, we'll probably be down to, I'm guessing, less than 10,000 deployed. But we're going to try to keep some deployments, but I think the messages I get from you all help me gauge that. Any thoughts? Well, let me ask you a question. How many deployments, who's had 1 deployment? 2 deployments? 3? 4? 5? Okay, 5 deployments. Where was it? Who had their hand up at 5? 4? Okay, well, let's just ask you the question on 4. How long were they?
No more than 6 months between 3 and 6 months for air side service.
Okay. Is that about right? Most people? Yeah, about right. Family okay with that?
General, my wife is fully supportive of my military duty.
Good, good. Well, anytime you have any issues or concerns, you know, let your leadership know because they can always get to me. Some people may have ideas that they don't want to talk about here, but if you pump it up through your leadership, because I'm trying to gauge out there, you know, what's the right number. It's all going to come down anyway on you know, the overseas side because the numbers, we're going to come out of a lot of missions. But we feel as an Air and Army Guard, we've got to stay engaged. But we also got to stay engaged in keeping great training opportunities. You know, interesting, sitting in a meeting one day, and the Air Force said, look, we're going to have to pull out of a mission. We've got F-16s going. We're going to park them to train with the Poles. The Poles are, you know, one of our best allies when you look at what they've done with supporting the war. We've got a state partnership with them in Illinois, which is going great. They bought 48 F-16s, so we were going to put some F-16s. The Air Force was. The Air Force said, we can't do it now with the drawdown. So Admiral Winnefeld, my old boss, who happens to know the Guard pretty good now, he says, hey, you think, can we work this out? So I sent him a note and said, sure, we can work this out. If we get the money right, we use our training dollars, we team up with Transcom and pass it over to the Air Guard, and they work with the adjutants generals, and we've been able to pull that mission off. And keeping that great partnership with Poland through the Guard, which is also keeping long-term relationships building, that is huge. And those kind of deployments, they're not, you know, we could put people there forever in 2 or 3 week ATs. You know, we could put a base of folks on the ground, we could rotate the full-time staff, and then let you all, you know, the Air Guard would rotate through in 2 or 3 week deployments. So I think that type of training activity will help keep us operational, keep us ready, and keep us interested. We've been talking about doing more of what I used to do, Central America, engineer-type projects, humanitarian-type projects. We did one in El Salvador this year. We've participated in Guatemala and Panama.